My name is Brooke, and with so many new distributors, we thought it would be a great time to make a quick video with selling tips for social media. Something to remember is that your public social media page should be a reflection of you. One way to help you do this is to make a list today. Some things to think about when you make your list are who or what is a big part of your life. Think about what things are your interests and your hobbies, and also think about the things that bring you joy. Some of your list may look like this. You might have a couple of items on your list as far as being a big part of your life, like your church and family, volunteering at animal shelters, and maybe even things such as taking care of your parents. For your hobbies and interests, it could be something like gardening and cooking and sports. And when you write something like sports, that could not just mean necessarily playing sports. It could be watching sports, talking about sports. It could be watching your kids play or taking them to the games. So it doesn't have to necessarily be specific. But what are you involved in? what do you spend a lot of time doing? And then, of course, what brings you joy. And you may notice that many of the things that bring you joy are also a big part of your life, such as my children, which is also family, and then cooking for others is also mentioned under hobbies and interests. But then there might be something new in that category, such as a new puppy. So after you've made your list and you've come up with as many things as you can think of under each category, you want to narrow it down. And you want to try to narrow your list down to 5 different categories. Now, if you had some categories that were similar, you want to combine those into one so that your 5 categories are very different. You don't want them to overlap in any way. So for this example, I'm left with family, gardening, cooking, sports, and my new puppy. And for this video, I'm going to refer to these as my 5 buckets. And we're going to try to fill our 5 buckets. And when we're talking about social media, we want to fill our 5 buckets as much as possible. And you may notice now I have an icon with our Topanga Scents logo on it because Topanga Scents is also now a part of our lives. And it is only a part of it. It's not all of it. And so it will be a part of our social media page, our public social media page. It will not be all of it. So let's talk about our first part, family. I chose the icon up top, or the graphic up top, with a mother and a son to represent a single parent because I am a single parent. And whenever you're talking about your bucket, if you have family as one of your categories, you want to be as specific as possible. And you might see that as limiting, but it's actually the opposite. The more specific you are about the type of family you have, the more attractive your content becomes to your target audience. So if you are a single parent, the more content you put out there about being a single parent, the more single parents you will attract and your audience will grow. Same as if you're a boy mom or a mother of twins, then those people will start becoming attracted to your posts and your engagement will grow. And speaking of engagement, I use the little icons at the bottom of the figures with the conversation bubbles over them because that's something very important to remember. When someone engages on a post about family or anything that you're talking about, you definitely want to comment back. It's very important for the Facebook algorithm and your audience that when someone makes a comment that you respond as quickly as possible. That will just help boost your engagement altogether. Another thing to remember is if you have one of your buckets or one of your main content areas that seems to be seasonal, you want to make sure and find ways to talk about it year round. So gardening might seem like a springtime thing, but even in the cold parts of winter, you want to think about content that you can post about weekly regarding that topic. So it might be, if you're into gardening, you might want to make a post, or what are you growing in your garden this winter, or how did you winterize your garden this season, or whatever. And it's also important to remember that you don't always have to be telling in your posts. Some of the best engagement is asking a question and getting other people's feedback. All right, so I showed you the family icon, and then I had the gardening one, and then here are the other ones. And you can see that with cooking, and I have a following for the puppy post and the sports post, and then there's one for the business post. And with each of those different topics, you're probably going to see that there are people that commonly show up and comment or like whenever you post something related to that topic. And what you're doing is you're building an audience that's interested in that topic. Now, it's probably very rare that the posts you make about cooking are loved by all of the people that like your post about sports. But if the people who are coming to your page for sports know that they're still going to get more sports content eventually, then they're going to keep coming back. And the same goes with your Topanga Sense posts. Not everyone may appreciate your occasional business posts, but if they know they're still going to come, if they're still going to see your post about family, which is what they get out of your page, why they enjoy coming to your page, or what they enjoy seeing on their news feed, then they're going to stay there. But it's very rare that everyone appreciates all of your buckets. But as long as you're keeping it varied and you're continuing to feed them the content that they came for, the reason that they enjoy your page, then they're going to keep coming back. But let's say you really are enjoying your new business and you start talking about Topanga Sense more, and you start talking about your new puppy less. Well, what happens is you might gain a new follower that's really excited about your new business opportunity, but you're probably going to lose several of your puppy followers. And if you start talking about your business even more, and you kind of forget about that gardening because it's cold and winter and maybe you're not doing as much out there, then you start losing that audience as well as your puppy audience. And maybe you lost a sports person, even though you're giving them that content, just because you've talked more and more about your business. And so if you continue talking about your business so much so that you begin to neglect the other areas of your life that were once a part of your social media page, so that it always becomes about your business and it doesn't become a true reflection of all of the parts of your life, then what happens is you lose your audience. And so we want you to remember that your business, although we love it and we want you to talk about it, it's only a part of your life. So we don't want you to make it the only thing others see on social media. Your page used to look like the image on the left, where when you were posting about a lot of different topics, that's what we want to see. We want a lot of different topics. We want it to be a true reflection of all of the different things that are important in your life, the people, your hobbies, your interests, and a little bit about your business too. But if you only post about your business, then you're going to lose most of your audience, and you're going to lose a lot of your business as well. And that's not what we want for anyone. So what we want you to do is just stay consistent. Find your 5 buckets, and of course your Topanga Sense business can be your 6th. And try to post once a week about each of your buckets. Try to be creative with what you post and what you share. You can ask questions. You can share tips and tricks. It doesn't always have to be just a photo. It can be a question or a helpful hint or whatever, but we want you just to share something related to the topics that you are most interested in, and try to be consistent with those to help build your audience. And then of course, share about your business once or twice a week along the way. And we want you to remember that most people don't want to see perfect people with perfect lives. They want to see real people and relatable experiences. So it's okay to show off pics of beautiful meals that you've prepared every once in a while. But don't forget to include the imperfect moments too. Humor has a huge following. Now, I have to say that I do enjoy cooking, and this is an actual picture of food on fire in my oven. So I don't necessarily recommend that you stop and take a photo of your food on fire. But this is something that happened to me, and I did share it, and I had a lot of engagement on that story on my page. So it's okay to laugh at yourself and share the imperfections. And you're more likely for your page to look like this. But you might be looking at this. And of course, these images don't necessarily represent one or two people. For you, if you already have a very active social media page, each image might represent 2 people or 10 people or 100 people, depending on how much of a following you already have on social media. But you might think, well, I want mine to grow. How can I do that? Well, humor is the way to do that. Humor and relatable content is the way to do that. And you can take it from looking like this to looking like this. Just by filling all of your buckets, by being consistent, being positive, and by being you. Thank you so much, and we hope you have a great night.